Okay, guys, excuse me. We are sitting here, back here, talking with or talking about Mr. James Love Hewitt. No, Mr. James Loveette. Uh, um, so yeah, he recently did. When did he put this video up? I think it was just a couple weeks ago. About how much you are worth, how various aspects of you are worth, and how it all fits together. So let's hear what he has to say about this stuff.
Yes, guys, it's your boy the Wolf, all right? The Mad Wolf, the Bad Wolf, the Mad Bad Wolf, the Wolf that's mad, the Bad Mad that's Wolf. Anyway, it's your boy. How you guys doing out there? Feeling fine like cherry wine? Sweet. Let's get at it. So this particular video is labeled "How much are you really worth?" Now, a lot of people don't understand that. Like, even though I made it with the bonds and whatever else on the other videos, you guys have to really look at. And now, this is educational information. Obviously, I don't have all the files to prove this. This is information that was either given to me or that I found. Um,
So all of this information is secondhand. He doesn't. I'm skipping ahead a little bit here, but spoiler alert: he doesn't use any reference material. He doesn't cite a source. He doesn't bring up a website. Nothing. All of this is hearsay. It's secondhand information and should not be trusted by anybody.
so, once again, it's just that education. But in light of all the crazy, some goods,
You can get educated by somebody a little bit more competent.
some bad, and some other things that are going out there, um, I want you guys all to know you are worth something. So never give up on yourselves. Keep heart, keep light, keep faith. Keep fighting the good fight, even if it's just for one more day. Okay, guys?
Oh,
We've
isn't
all
that
been there.
sweet?
So
He is a nice guy after all. No, I should be fair. He's done nothing that I could classify as um, rude or anything like that. So he does seem to be a pretty normal guy most of the time.
just know that if no one else told you today, I believe in you. All right. Now, that being said, how much are you worth? Well, even on your lowest day, you think you're not worth anything, but there's a cost. And we're going to break down some of that right here. Now, I'm going to jump all over the board, but
Oh boy, does he ever!
this is what it is. Okay, take your hair, for instance. If you grow your hair out, okay, you can sell your hair. Your hair has worth.
Yep, sure does. There are conditions because it's usually made for wigs for cancer patients. The hair has to be virgin. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to come from a virgin. It just has to be hair that has been untreated with any products. Um, so there are conditions, but it is possible. Although I think that's selling your hair for the purpose of making wigs for cancer patients is a little cringy. I mean, if you want to volunteer and give it away, all more power to you. But selling it, I'd have to question that person's moral character.
People have made hundreds of dollars, if not thousands of dollars, selling their hair. All right. Um, Ladies out there, your eggs are worth like $15,000 to $20,000.
Are you serious? You're bringing up a woman's eggs? Wow. Wow. Just suggesting that a woman sell her eggs is ridiculous. A man saying a woman should sell her eggs to make money is, I mean, to put it mildly, it's a little cringy, James.
In some cases. Okay, being a surrogate mom worth $30,000 to $50,000, carrying a kid for somebody out there who can't.
That's legit. I mean, if you, I know people that have been faced with that possibility, and it's a hard decision. It's something that there's has to talk a lot about. Um, but for some people, it's a viable option to having a baby the traditional way.
Gentlemen, your we'll just call it peanut butter.
Oh my God, really, James? Why are you? What's the point of even going there? What point are you trying to make?
has value. Not as much as the ladies, but still has value out there. It can be sold. Um, your organs, and this is one of the bad things out there, okay? So protect yourselves at all times. Be aware of your surroundings out there. Be aware of vans, especially.
So I'm just going out on a limb and saying that James has a daughter. I'm just throwing it out there.
Um, be aware of shady-looking cats in larger cars, especially vans that can snatch up. You go to your grocery store. Watch your kids. Hold their hand. Don't let them walk in front of you like, let's just say somebody's stupid ex, okay? Even though everything is good there with my child.
Glad to hear it, James. I'm not sure that this was the forum for that, but hey, glad to hear it.
I'm just saying, the practice is you have to be more careful, okay? So watch out, especially for vans or cars that have doors that you can easily be pulled into. So if you go to the grocery store, you see a van next to your car, okay, or a child's seat sitting out in the middle of nowhere, leave it alone. Walk with somebody, go get security, be cautious of everywhere you go, okay? That being said, all of your organs have a price.
Wow, just keeps going deeper and deeper. This is getting really weird.
Of 2,000, 5,000, 10,000. That's why some of these people are being snatched up, okay? And of course, we're not going to get into all the very sad things that are going on out there associated with those lines. So, what else are you worth? Okay, well, we talked about how you have a birth certificate, but what about your death certificate? Oh.
Implying that both of those, either of those, neither of those, I don't know, probably not neither, but saying that they are worth money, which is just false. They're documents documenting your birth and your death. That's it. That's all. They are not worth anything. Although he does refer, or he does allude, or he does talk about the fact that if you're going to reclaim any outstanding assets from dead relatives.
Yeah, somebody's going to collect on that, okay? I'm not going to go into certain aspects of this because I don't want to draw smoke, but let's just say there is probably insurance on you through some agencies out there.
What agencies? What agency would have insurance on me without my consent or permission? That doesn't make sense. That's just absolute nonsense, just like most of what he talks about.
On your death, okay? So you have to understand that that's why I showed in another video where you can go to the Treasury in order to get the bonds and whatever else for your deceased loved ones, okay? And you have the right to pull all that information. You have the right to inquire on the person who's passed away's account, all their numbers. Do a FOIA on all of their socials, all of their birth certificates, death certificates, all that stuff. Find out every information you can on there and pull what is supposed to be your funds.
So he's basically describing how to go about robbing your dead relatives. Now, I'm not saying that the money that that your relatives leave behind is not supposed to go to somebody. I certainly hope that that the rightful heirs to whatever money happens to be laying about are awarded that money. He's not making the distinction about which relatives and who you should investigate. Your parents, okay. Your parents, fine. Grandparents, okay. Your third cousin twice removed, probably not.
Okay, that have been passed on to you. Hopefully, all of you guys watching these videos are going to start doing trusts for your house, trusts for your person, your assets, things of that nature. You can then transfer all of that stuff into it.
What he's describing here is a little questionable. I am not an accountant by any means. I'm a Canadian. I don't know a lick about the American tax system. But if it's anything like ours, and of course I've heard horror stories about the IRS, but I mean, you take it with a grain of salt. But what James is actually describing right now is putting all of your assets into trusts, um, presumably to keep them tax free, so that you don't pay tax on those assets. The IRS really doesn't like that, James. They tend to put people in jail for that. Just saying, you need to be careful. I would suggest you get in touch with a legal accountant or an account a lawyer, financial lawyer. Yes, you don't want to go to this guy.
And then those people don't have to have things probated. So get your wills and whatever else. I know it ain't a great subject to talk about, but it's facts. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of facts that we really didn't need to know. We could have used other examples, James, other than a woman's eggs or a man's sperm.
You're going to leave money on the table, and if that money goes unclaimed, you know who it's going to. Okay, not your people until they pay a hefty tax on there, because it's all commerce when you're in their waters. Okay. What else are you worth? Okay, so let's just say, well, financially, you're doing your taxes, right? You have a worth to your employer. Your employer might have insurance over you.
Your employer wouldn't have insurance on you specifically unless you're like a high-ranking executive in like some Fortune 500 company where the profits of the company are tied to your good health. Something that happens, as you like on a macro scale, you look at the stock market. It fluctuates with the health of the current president. So when the president goes into the hospital, things get a little tense in the markets. So it's so that does happen, but what he's referring to or what he's implying, alluding to here, is a little far-fetched.
You could, you're worth something to the workforce, okay, out there, because you are putting money into it, which then goes to. Speaking of which, let's break that down. Okay, so let's back up. What are you worth to the IRS?
You're worth your yearly taxes. That's what you're worth to the IRS.
Okay. Well, the IRS, as we all know, collects taxes, and we have talked about the ins and outs, the goods and bads of that. And for those people who are a part of the Wolf Pack, that pays a monthly subscription service, there's going to be a little extra tidbit continuation for you guys in there on this one. So
that's not fair, James. I don't want to pay your monthly fee. I subscribe to your little rinky-dink channel so that I can get updates and find out all the or to do some fact checking on you as you put out your videos. It's more of a hate subscribe than anything else. But yeah.
I'll get that. But for the rest of the people, here's what you guys need to know for now: is if your status has not been corrected and you have not filed the correct paperwork, and inform them of your revocation of election.
Revocation of election. I wanted to talk about that because that sounded a little strange. Okay, that's for Canada. Okay, so James likes to get a lot of his information from Cornell University, so we will go to Cornell Law School. Okay, so this article is from Cornell Law School, and it begins, the manner of revoking election. A taxpayer may revoke an election made by him under Section 615E or Section 617A by filing with the Internal Revenue Officer with whom the taxpayer's income tax return is required to be filed within the period set forth in paragraph B of this section. A statement signed by the taxpayer or his authorized representative which sets forth that the taxpayer is revoking the election previously made by him with respect to the deduction of mining exploration expenditures paid or incurred after September 12, 1966. And states with whom the document making the election was filed. The taxpayer revoking such an election shall file amended income tax returns reflecting any increase or decrease in tax attributable to the revocation of election for all taxable years affected by. All right. So it's clearly about taxes. Um, I'm not a, I am not a accountant by any stretch of the word. I hate math, but I don't think this means what you think it means.
And you continue to pay federal taxes. Now, I agree you should pay state, because we have been calling ourselves state citizens, so you need to support your state, so pay your state taxes. But as far as the federal, if you're not domiciled on a federal zone and you change your status, you shouldn't have to pay, and you won't pay taxes. Okay? In some cases you got them reduced. It's up to you. You don't have to completely revocate the whole thing. You can just reduce how much you pay. But once again, it's done with the proper paperwork.
Okay, so you revocation of election is reduces the amount you pay. I'm confused.
So let's just say, what is it? Just rough numbers. I don't care for how accurate I am, but let's just say you make $100,000 a year and you're roughly paying $30,000. Let's just keep it somewhere around there.
Is he talking about paying $30,000 in taxes on $100,000? That's 30% tax. I hope you're not paying that much on $100,000 income. That would suck.
All right. Well, $30,000 that goes to the federal government, which is a gift, according to the black IRS agent who quit after finding out that there is no law requiring and as a mandate for you to pay taxes.
Okay, so you got this information from a black. I don't know why his race has anything to do with it, but a black IRS agent that quit after he found out that you are not required by law to pay taxes. Trust me, if such a law existed, the IRS would have it repealed immediately. Um, yeah, I mean, not even the IRS, the government. If taxes were optional, trust me, there'd be a lot less bitching about the taxes in the American system. But I don't know what he's talking about.
Merely a, if you will, a gift. Educational information only. Do your own research. Just create guides on the information. Uh,
That's for sure.
but after 10 years of your life making this gift, we'll call it, to the state or estate, depending on how you look at it, that's 300,000 after 10 years. Well, how long are you planning on living? So then take 30,000 times, I don't know, people should live, what, an average of at least 50 years, we'll say.
Wow, 50 years. So we're living in the Roman times when you're ancient by 50. No, the average human lifespan is something like 79, 80 years, average between the both sexes. If you average each sex out, they are different. I don't know what it is. I know men don't live as long as women apparently, but whatever. But I mean, he's really planning on dying young.
Except for some of you youngins out there running lights and driving all wild as frack. Y'all need to slow down, okay?
So says Grandpa James.
Chill out. We got people like me and kids and stuff out there. But anyway, yeah. So 50 years times $30,000 a year, 1.5. Okay. So let's just say this, guys. Do the math. How much are you really worth? So you might think you're not worth something, and maybe you're not worth something to your bum ex-girlfriend or boyfriend, but it may not feel like nothing to your family, but to the system, you're worth at least 1.5. Okay?
What system? I don't know what you're talking about. And by your definition here, you're only worth that 1.5 million at the end of your life. So what's the point? Even if what you're saying is true, that is claimable eventually, or maybe even by your next of kin, by your children or whatever, that would be one hell of a system. I mean, there's your nest egg for your children right there.
And then,
I wish it worked that way.
according to now this is just information given to me, I can't prove this, but according to
He can't prove any of it, by the way.
what I was told and the information I did read, I have not researched this part, but we are supposed to be able to discharge anywhere our debts Okay, some people have looked up HJR 192, which has been repealed in 1982. So this is information, but we're supposed to be able to technically discharge up to $1 million a year worth of debt.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I have to interrupt again there. So discharge. Okay, so I just discharge. This is just the meaning of discharge. I'm going to put it up on the screen here. Um, yeah, so it's going to be up here. I'm going to put it like over here. So yeah, if the IRS allowed you to discharge, I'm going to use discharge $1.5 million a year in debt. I really don't believe that's true. But like he says all the time, do your own research, and please do your own research. Don't take this guy's word for it. He has no idea what he's talking about.
Now, like I said, it's been repealed, so it is now operating under new information, which I think we talked about in a different video. So
why talk about a different video? You're talking about it now. Give me the information now. I'm not going to go search for some video where you may or may not talk about something. You still haven't cited a source. All of this is hearsay. So what does it mean, James?
Go back to my main page on YouTube and search in there for other videos you want to look. So
yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Questions as well. Hit that up before messaging me. Some of you guys are asking me questions I've already covered in videos. I put these videos out to teach, educate, but do your own research. So that being the case, if you live 50 years...
So he's presenting his information as legitimate research, but he's telling people to go look other places. I mean, get as many sources as you can, but as a YouTuber, you don't want your people to go somewhere else to get their information. You want to keep them in your channel to get your information. You're just asking for people to dig up the truth, James. Do your own research is just saying, yeah, don't believe me. I don't know what I'm talking about. So why does he have 10,000 subscribers?
Technically, credit-wise, you could be looking at you're worth over $50 million, just right there. 51, 52 plus. Now,
you'd think if that was true, you'd be hearing about it a lot more. You'd be hearing about it from people who are collecting on their dead relatives, people that are collecting or are reclaiming their taxes, I'm assuming. He's very unclear. But all I need is a source, James.
Then I ask you guys, good sir, why do you think they don't want you leaving their corporation?
I'm Batman.
Creepy. So he's referring to the United States as a corporation. In some aspects it is, but in the way that he's referring to it, I think he is misinformed.
But I could be just a crazy guy. So
yeah.
Research it for yourself. Start looking up these things. That's all I'm saying. I am so glad I got a treaty with the U.S. and I'm a non-combatant, non-belligerent, and this is just...
He says that like it's a title, like it's some kind of status that he has with this treaty with the United States government. Now, okay, just to clarify, I have heard of people that have seceded from the United States and have become their own country within the borders of the United States. These are people that usually have a considerable piece of land and they don't want it encroached upon by the federal government. So they have removed themselves or removed their piece of land from the United States. So the United States can no longer lay claim to it in an emergency situation, when they buy back land because they're expanding a highway or something like that. It basically protects them from the land being appropriated by the government. Fair enough. I mean, everybody has a right to protect their home from whatever enemies they perceive. But I'm looking at James's surroundings. Like all I can see is his. I'm assuming it's his basement. Um, he doesn't really let us see much around him, but he's. I don't think that he. I don't think he did that. I don't think he did that paperwork because it's a pretty invasive thing. So just owning a piece of land and declaring it sovereign soil, I don't think you could do that. You just can't say the words and all of a sudden it'd be real. You need a little more than that.
Information that anybody can get online. All right, guys, that's about it. So how much? Now ask yourself, how much are you worth?
Okay, thank God. So he just finishes his video, reposing his question. But he really doesn't have anything. I don't know what to tell you. He didn't cite a source. He didn't name a name. He didn't name a paper. He didn't name a educational institution. He didn't name. You would think that a lot of the documentation that he's referring to or talking about would be readily available on the IRS website. He didn't say anything like that. So yeah, if you're going to follow this guy and believe the crackpot theories this guy has, then you really need to make sure you talk to people who actually know what they're talking about. All right?